Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
That's the question. How do you think that competitions influence the coffee scene in each country or like worldwide?
so I think there is always a short-term reaction or very fast changes tied to what happens normally at on the world stage at Brewers Cup at Barista Championships, and then there's a very long, slow, and steady change. Um, so the very fast change is like what coffees are in fashion, what particularly the most expensive coffees, how they're being processed, which varieties people are talking about or fighting to taste. And this is a very small change because it really only impacts baristas. You know, baristas, maybe roasters, not many customers. It impacts customers a little bit because the baristas are excited, so they try and buy these coffees, they put them on the menu, or they have them in their special drawer when their favorite customer comes in, or they do their cupping, whatever. Um, but you see real shifts between, you know, certainly over the last year, I think a lot of anaerobic processed coffees, uh, everyone's gone crazy for it. And they are, when they are great, they're amazing. And when they're okay, they're just okay. Uh, a lot of very process driven coffees because I think process can really create very clear flavor differences, particularly in espresso, that everyone can understand. You know, whether or not they're good quality is a completely different conversation. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. But that's a really short-term influence, and you get other things like maybe people are talking a lot about freezing coffee or using a different grinder and that kind of technique, or a new way of making coffee that someone shows on that stage, even if it's not the person who wins. If it's on the right stage at the right moment, it can influence baristas in lots of countries. They all start trying it out. Maybe it works for some, but not for others. But at least for a year, 2 years, you will see an echo of what happened on that stage.
Mm-hmm.
The more meaningful change is the one that has happened over the life of the competition, maybe 3 or 4 years ahead of what happens in cafes, is how baristas talk to customers, the language that they use, their expectations, their professionalism, which I think is really a goal of the competition, is to, it helps develop pride in people, right, who are working behind a coffee machine. You know, I'm not just working in a fast food job. I care about my ingredient and I want to share that story and my passion with my customer. And I want to learn because you watch those performances and the best baristas are talking about really complicated things. You know, they've been reading for 3 6 months about an idea that stimulates them. And as they read, they work out how to better explain that. And when you're a barista just beginning and you see that, you're like, whoa, I don't understand all these things, but I want to. And so you start reading those books, and that starts changing the way you talk to your customers because you want to share what you're learning. And you go from being somebody like most baristas are very customer focused, right? They like talking, they like smiling, they want to make their customer happy. And actually, that's not a given in lots of people who work in food. You go to the average mall, and you go to the average kind of fast food restaurant, the staff don't care about what they're doing. They could be lovely people, but they don't care about the customer. But most baristas really do. They really get off on making the customer happy because they're doing these little things that makes a difference. What I see developing because of competition is beyond just trying to make the customer happy, they start trying to help the customer understand why their coffee is special, why they're putting their time and their effort and their energy into it. And actually, I think customers really value that in a different way. You know, not every customer, but the customers that matter care about the cafe they go to. They care that the barista cares about their coffee. the more professional the barista is, the more open they are to having conversations in different ways. I think Yun in Boston, actually she represented one of the things that I really love in coffee, which is you can be professional without giving a lecture or without being stern and formal. You can communicate really complicated information with a smile, and that's okay. So knowing your audience and being able to shift how you communicate the right thing to different people is a really big skill of a great barista in competition or in the cafe. And not simplifying everything just because you want to make someone happy, but going, no, actually this is really important, it's complicated, and this is how I help you understand it. That's a real skill that competition has helped develop baristas into. And if you find videos from 10, 15 years ago of the barista competition, when, the whole game was different. It was, everyone was making coffee in a different way, much more, it was blends, it was more traditional Italian, much more formal kind of clothes, people in bow ties and waistcoats. And that wasn't the kind of story the barista was saying. It was much more about, this is the dose I'm using, this is the recipe, this is the flavor. And over time, we've developed this style, like the sommelier, where we're showing our knowledge of provenance and terroir and how coffee is produced, and we're really showing the wider industry. A lot more stories about farms, and you look at baristas like Alejandro from Salvador and Raul, and Sasha as well, when he won, who their presentation was not just barista, but was farmer, was beneficio, was the whole cycle for those judges to understand and enjoy. And now we accept that is what a great barista in a cafe should be able to do. And I think 20 years ago, no one would have expected that of a barista. So it really changes our industry. It changes the conversations we have at cuppings or latte art throwdowns. That's what the baristas are talking about and learning about.